All right, welcome back to another Disneyland Hotel Diary. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the Travelodge Inn Suites right there on Disneyland Drive. We've sifted through hundreds and hundreds of reviews to help you figure out if this hotel is the right call for your next trip.
Okay, let's just be real for a second. You're planning this amazing, magical trip, but then you start looking for a hotel, and there are literally hundreds of options. It can feel completely overwhelming, and honestly, it's one of the most stressful parts of the whole process.
So here's the game plan. First, we're going to tackle the number one issue, location and what I'm calling the walk debate. Then we'll take a peek inside the rooms themselves. After that, we'll weigh the good against the bad, the perks versus the quirks, and we'll wrap it all up with a final verdict and some super helpful tips from fellow guests.
So, when it comes right down to it, what are we trying to figure out here? Is this Travelodge a secret hidden gem for people trying to save a buck? Or is it just a classic budget trap? That's the big question. Let's find out. First things first, location. I mean, for any Disneyland hotel, this is the most important factor, right? It can literally make or break your whole trip. And for this particular hotel, oh boy, the walk is a huge point of contention. So check this out. We crunched the numbers from over 1,300 reviews, and something really jumps out. The hotel's overall score is a respectable 3.5 stars, but look at the location score. It's way up at a 4.3. That tells you right away that for a lot of people, the location is the best thing it has going for it. Now, officially, the hotel gets a walkability score of 73 out of 100. And, on paper, that sounds pretty decent, right? But as you're about to see, what it says on paper and what people actually experience, well, that's a whole different story. And this right here is the core of the whole walk debate. You've got some people saying, yeah, it's a totally doable 17-minute walk, no problem. But then in the very next review, you'll see someone say, nope, it says walking distance, it really isn't. This huge gap in what people think is walkable shows up over and over again. Okay, so whether you make that walk or you just give in and call an Uber, what are you actually coming back to at the end of the night? Let's take a look inside the room and see what's waiting for you after a 12-hour park day. So the rooms themselves, they do have some really solid, practical stuff inside. You've got a fridge and a microwave, which, let's be real, is a total game changer for saving some cash on food and drinks. People also really seem to love that there are a ton of USB ports and outlets. And here's a big one for bigger families. They actually have rooms with 3 queen beds, which is pretty rare. But, and this is a big but, here's where things get really inconsistent, and that's cleanliness. I mean, look at this quote. A guest said the carpets were so filthy that their feet turned black right after taking a shower. Yikes. That is not exactly the kind of magic you're looking for on a Disney trip. But then, literally in the same breath, you'll find a review like this one. This person says their room was modern-looking and clean, and they were thrilled with all the charging options. And this right here, this is the ultimate gamble with this hotel. You just have no idea which version of the room you're going to walk into. Hey, real quick, if this deep dive is helping you figure out your Disney plans, it would be awesome if you could just take a second to subscribe and hit that like button. It honestly helps us make more of these. Okay, let's get back to it. Okay, so now for the big balancing act. Let's really dig into the perks versus the quirks, the pros and the cons, because this is what truly defines the experience of staying here. This chart really lays it all out, doesn't it? It's all about the trade-offs. On the perks side, you get some amazing stuff. Free parking in Anaheim? That's like finding a unicorn. Plus, you've got a pool and a killer fireworks view. But on the quirk side, the risks are just as big. That inconsistent cleanliness we talked about, a pool that closes super early, a questionable free breakfast, and the fact that you have to ask for housekeeping. A lot of people don't realize that last one. Well, let's zoom in on that breakfast for a second. This quote just cracks me up because it's so brutally honest. Someone called it the saddest complimentary breakfast ever. Just some Raisin Bran, Frosted Flakes, and a couple of sad waffle makers. You know, if you're counting on a big breakfast to fuel your park day, this might be a huge disappointment. But just like with the rooms, it really is all about your expectations. Because then you get another guest who was actually surprised and said it was a very cool breakfast because it had waffle makers. I guess they were expecting even less. It just goes to show you, one person's sad breakfast is another person's cool surprise. Okay, we've looked at the location, the rooms, the pros, the cons. We've dug through hundreds of reviews. So what's the bottom line? Should you actually book the Travelodge for your trip?
Let's make this super simple. You should absolutely book it if you're the kind of person who just needs a cheap, safe place to crash. You're going to be in the parks from open to close, and that free parking is the most important thing to you. On the flip side, you should skip it if the thought of a dirty carpet would ruin your vacation, if a carb-fest breakfast is a no-go, or if you know you'll want a late-night swim after the parks close. If those are your deal breakers, this probably isn't the place for you.
Now, if you do decide to stay, the reviews are full of these awesome little pro tips. Number 1, you have to specifically ask for your room to be cleaned. It's not automatic. Number 2, plan your swim time. The pool closes at 8 p.m. sharp. 3, a great little hack is to bring your own protein for breakfast, like some yogurt or hard-boiled eggs. And finally, and this is a big one, don't forget to enjoy that free, fantastic view of the Disneyland fireworks.
So, in the end, it all boils down to this one question. Is saving that money on your room worth rolling the dice on cleanliness and comfort? That's the gamble you take with this hotel, and only you can decide if that's a bet you're willing to make. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.